It is March 8th, 2023. My face looks bad because I had something done on it. It'll clear up in a day or two. But it's still going on. If you listen to the story of what happened and how it played out, of what happened to me, from 2017, we got a 10 plus loan to fix up our house and for a back driveway. Dave kept saying he didn't have enough money for something. We put $4,500 in the back driveway. We put $2,000 in the bathroom upstairs. He took $500 back of items. He got an $1,800 bonus, and all that money disappeared. Everybody knew it disappeared. $5,000-6,000. Then, where Dave worked midnights, I'd stay out and talk to him and renovate the house. And I could hear voices outside. And I couldn't see anybody. So we got a security system of living there after 25 years. I'd have long scratches long ways, and down the side of my car, and he would try to put filler in it, some extra wax and build up. But if they're that close to the house and I'm home alone, we got a security system, okay? Now, come September, John and Mel got in a fight. They were always fighting and breaking up. But this time they went back to that church to fix their marriage. And I warned them, they'll break you up for good. Oh, they're not like that. Yes, they are. Okay, so if you go forward, Dave's leaving to work early. I'm trying to get Dixie to follow him. Thank God she didn't. I found him in the changing room one night. Once really sick, we had made love that night. Made love, still in bed. Hear him crying in the changing room. I can't. I get up and I put one of his shirts on and I go in the changing room. He's got rivers of tears. He grabs me, he squeezes me and sinks his head into my body. I can't. I'm wiping his tears. I'm like, who are you talking to? No one. And I said, what can't you? Nothing. And I help him back to bed. He cries himself to sleep. And I get up and I call that number back. It's a Navarre number. It was probably Katie's mom, Mary. She lives in Navarre. And he said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I got in bed. I thought, because the woman answered, just do it. He's like, what are you doing? And I went, nothing. I climbed back in bed. I thought, what on earth? Well, he called me one night from work. He's like, Karen, I'm in trouble. I said, why are you in trouble? He said, I crashed a machine. I said, so what happens? I have to have a drug test. I said, so we don't drink and do drugs. And he's like, you don't understand, I'm in trouble. He had been around somebody smoking pot so long that they had to make sure he didn't participate and send it off. He got suspended. Okay? He had told Daniel, my grandson, enjoy Grandma now, you won't have one after Christmas. He's a little 10-year-old kid. And he's Grandma's baby. And so he curls up on my lap and he cries. And he keeps looking at him, real evil, you better enjoy her now. You won't have a grandma after Christmas. We weren't even fighting. And I'm like, cut it out, Dave. And he made him cry. I called Terry. I called my mom trying to talk him that I wasn't going anywhere. That Papa was just being mean. Okay? Well, Dave came home. Now, that day, I had tarred around the house trying to winterize it. We had an old hose. I couldn't get it off, so I popped it up with a rake. We had 1938 windows with plexiglass. You could pull it up, pull it off, and slip down into the basement, push the window open, and turn off the electricity, and the security system came out and killed me. By the grace of God, I tarred, and it sealed it tight. He got home, we got in bed. And I set the security system. I hear a pop, pop, bang, bang. The puppies are screaming in the kennels in the basement. I'm like, you're going to go check? He's like, no. Okay. And I keep looking out the windows and waiting for the security system to go off. Nothing happened. Finally climbed back in bed and went to sleep. We got up. The attendants pulled down. It looked like they fell over the rake. And the plexiglass is cracked and not pulled off because it's sealed airtight. Okay? We call the Perry Police. Perry Police are like, it makes no sense. Why wouldn't they go through an upstairs window? They knew where the security system was. That officer was in Dave's face. You're part of this. He said something else and put him in the middle of it. I'm standing there. He has to be misspeaking. We've been married 30-something years. And he keeps incriminating himself. And the officers all over him. And I'm like, sir, would you just drive by? He's like, ma'am, we'll be driving by. And he got in Dave's face. I will be checking on you. And he storms off. And I thought, oh, he had to misspoke. Okay? Well, come March, our house is up for sale. Bill German was our realtor. He wasn't always in the area. He always let me show the house when he wasn't in the area. And I had got done over an hour and a half early. And I told Dave I was going to go out for Belden to get coffee, get out of the house for a little bit because I've been cleaning all day. He said, well, let me know when you're ready. I said, well, give me about 10, 15 minutes. So I did. I got dressed and I said, hey, I'm heading out. He said, go Lincoln Way. I said, Dave, I always go down to Bailey. Because you go to Bailey to Genoa or Bailey down behind Watson to hit 12th Street. You have to cross 12th Street to get to Belden. And you have to. And he said, go Lincoln Way. And he starts yelling at me. I'm like, fine, I'll go Lincoln Way. I've lived there 25 years. I go jump on Lincoln Way. It's a 5-lane highway. It's actually open. It's like, sweet. So I jumped 5 lanes. There's a car at Avis. And I thought, well, I'll get in the other lane. I jumped 5 lanes and got behind me. And I move over. He moves over. I'm like, that's weird. The other lane's still open. Well, I go down to turn at Genoa to go down to 12th Street. He goes to turn. And it clicked. They knew where the security system was. I'm like, oh my God. I just got a bigger black SUV. And I went to go back to Bailey. I got stuck at the corner of Genoa and Bailey. Cars going by, 1, 2, had my foot on the brake, the wheel turned left. He hit me doing 45, clipped the back end of my vehicle. The Perry Police showed up and said if you wouldn't have had your foot on the brake, the way he hit you, he would have rolled you. He said, and he got stuck between me and the building. He said, I can't prove it, but he said, I know he's up to something. I can't let you go home alone. He had me call Dave and had Dave come home. Okay. I had went over to my son Danny and daughter-in-law Jen. Her friend Kaylee was there. She's like, well, you know Savannah. And I said, I know of her. She's young enough to be Dave's granddaughter. Pam and Jack's daughter. Harold Strange's great niece. And I said, well, I know of her. What do you mean you don't know her? And I said, well, I know her parents, but they used to come visit the church after they left. But I know of her, but I don't know her. I see her sitting with her parents, and I've never had trouble with her parents before. What are you talking about? What do you mean you don't know her? She said, you know her old boyfriend was into drugs heavy. I said, what does that have to do with anything? She just looked at me. Okay? Well, I went home and I looked her up, and the guy that hit me was her Facebook friend. I didn't know I had a 25 grand hit on my life. Okay? Then in March, Dave took me to a restaurant we never went to, or hardly ever went to. There was nobody in there. There's a couple over in the corner, and then there's an old couple sitting behind us. This young blonde girl walks by and goes, death stare at me and Dave. She sits down and she bangs the back of my booth. Does he think it's funny bringing her here? I said, Dave, you know them? He said, I don't know them. So they start talking about Dave. I said, Dave, they act like they know you. He said, I don't know who those people are. She bangs the back of my booth again. And I said, Dave, do you know these people? And he said, no. She does it again. I said, can I come sit with you? He said, yeah. That was supposed to be Will and Michelle. March 18th. Do you know what happened right after that? I went to help Terry clean out her apartment. Van pulls up, side door goes open. I told you she walked me out, I had boxes in my hand because we're going to be moving. Had the trunk open, was loading them up. Van pulls up, side door goes open, tall white man, black hair. I got her hood up over his head, go back in the building. I throw the boxes in. She picks up her walker and almost runs in there. I run around the side of my car, open it, look, make sure she got in, jumped in, start the car, throw it in reverse. He hits the back of my car. She got away. He lunges around the building, and I peel out, and that van chases me for a while. She's seen the whole thing. Okay? We keep getting changing dates on closing on both houses. So I started putting our stuff in a storage unit and at my son Danny's. We were lucky enough to close on both days. Second day we're down there getting a load at night from Danny's. We go down to Massillon Walmart. John and his kids are in there. They come running at us, Grandma, Papa, what you doing here? Buying curtains for the basement. What you doing? I don't know. Mom and time pass each other. We go to leave. Dave's like, I'm going to follow you. Okay. I wasn't going to argue because he had the trailer and I didn't have to worry about someone following. There's a white car pulled out ahead of me. We're on the back way into Massillon, and all of a sudden it turns the whole sideways and blocks the whole road. I'm like, Dave, you blocked the whole road for no reason. He steps out, jeans, cowboy boots, tall white man with black hair, same profile as I got her. He starts reaching back in like he's going to grab something off the dash. I'm like, oh my God, Dave, I think I'm getting carjacked. I can't get around him. He's grabbing for something. Where are you at? Oh, I turned down a side road. What do you mean you turned down a side road? I start flooring it backwards, screaming at him. And I look up and another car starts coming towards us. He steps back in, straightens up his car, and peels out of there. I scream. And I straighten up my car and I peel out too. Do you know where he met up with me? 12 miles away. He laughed to Dixie that he knew I was getting carjacked and he left me. Third day, we go down to get our bed out of storage unit. He acts like he can't pick up a bed railing. And I'm like, oh, come on now. It's a wood one. I could pick that up. He picks it up, it hits me in the bottom of the face and breaks several teeth. Even with our insurance, it was like $1,200. I had to have him fixed. I'm like, why? I'm spewing blood. And he runs off to the store. Okay. On the 6th day, we're down getting another load at the storage unit. Okay. We come home and our door's knocked into the wall. And he's looking around. He said, do you think another realtor passed off keys? They can't pass off keys. They're kept in a lockbox. And the lockbox had been off the front door for days. And the key out of it. He said, don't report it. Here they set up, apparently, button camera stalking me. That's where they photoshopped the shower scene. And I started waking up with giant bruises everywhere. I go to mow the lawn the second week, and I almost pass out in the front yard. In the house before mine, there's a guy. He comes running over. I'm a nurse. Can I help you? I see you're struggling. I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. He said, oh, I'm over. He's like, I don't have money to pay you. Neighbors don't pay each other. And then he starts talking about his grown son. Okay. And he mowed my lawn. Everybody knew what happened. Okay, and it was happening on and off all summer long. Giant bruises, throwing up, getting dizzy, almost passing out. Laying down hours, disappearing. When I confronted Danny and Jen about the shower scene when they were lying on them on Christmas Eve of 22, if they knew that they had set up button cameras and were date rape drugging me and stuff, and they said no, neither did the kids. I said, did you know they photoshopped the shower scene in the other room? No. Did you? I said, all those giant bruises I had everywhere? Yeah. You were working too hard and bruising too easy, right? And I said, no, they were supposed to have been date rape drugging me, telling me to say I was a weirdo, and those bruises are from them hurting me. And I said, did you know anything about this? No. And I told him about Eric confessing on November 18, 22 at Walmart 62, getting high, coming that some odd stalking tapes were him and not me. It was done for people to turn on me, da da da. Then ID'd at November 24, 22 at Mercy Medical, the nurse to the Canton officer. And making fun of people for falling for his tapes before stalking tapes. And I said the police have been looking for him and Steve and Eric for stalking me for a while. And Dad, up there, did you know anything about it? No. The kids came out and gave me a hug. Grandma, is that what's going on? They had no idea. They lied on them. They had an attorney. We're helping Dave get away with this. They knew nothing. Nobody did. Okay? All right, I work all summer long on the house. September 3rd is 6. Is our anniversary. It's the 6th. He took off a few days. He usually does. We'll go away for the mountains for a day or go fishing. We may work on the house, but we spend time for us because it's our anniversary. He didn't want to do anything but finish up that house. And in a fit of anger, he starts screaming how he wanted Katie Brothers instead of me. And I said, whoa, you want another woman? I'll take my things and leave. He's like, you're not allowed to leave. Jack and I had this plan since March. I said, if you have something planned, I'll give up everything willingly. He said, Jack said you wouldn't give up everything willingly. And we have to do it this way. Okay? He's crazy. He'll hit you with a board in the face. He will beat the hell out of you. I have several tapes of him admitting to beating me just because he was angry. I looked at people that fall in love with somebody that's abusing them. What is it, Stockholm Syndrome? They feel loving feelings towards people that kidnap them or abuse them. It's their way of emotionally surviving. Yes, that's what I got. That's how I survived Dave, is I made myself believe I was in love with him so I could tolerate his abuse for years. Okay, I look for a job because he's crazy. If he's got something planned, I'm in big trouble. I got a job at Advanced America. The one district manager sent me to a different store on the way up there, and somebody else went to the other store pretending that they were me and cost me that job. And when I went up there, they verified it wasn't me, and she tried to give it back to me, and it was too weird and wrong. By the 18th, Sarah, at Zales, her old manager, an older white lady with blonde hair and a girl with brown hair and brown eyes, had went from Zales, had switched over in 18 to Ashcroft and Oak. We started working with Katie, and they were going out to eat it or getting coffee after work. And she was telling them how their church was going to have me killed. They had a permanent plan to do it with me. And then I needed to call the police or a detective that she couldn't tell people they were going to have me killed. And they were worried about me. I was on the phone with Terry. I had been good to her for years. She had asked me down to prayer, and I felt tight because that girl cost me that job. And she said she'd step in for prayer, and she's like, I watched this lady's kid for $10 an hour, and she's going on and on and on. And she's got me on speaker on the counter where she's cleaning up. I can hear her knocking. She said, Karen, she's here. I'll let you go. She still doesn't know I know. I almost hung up, and I thought, someone just cost me that job. Is that Dave's girlfriend? I could hear walking over the door, and I thought, I'll just listen for a minute. She opens the door. Guess who it's on the phone with? You're kidding. I almost tricked her into coming down to prayer where those two guys show up and take care of her. It's not like anybody in the church would ever help her. You know, they pay people to know where she's at. I could have used some money. The other girl starts insulting Kaylee. Well, as bad as Kaylee. She used a different minister because Keith charged too much money. When she said, and then Terry responds, well, you know who's in the meeting to hire those two men to kill her? It was Keith Bishop, Strange, and Ron. They took up $25,000 to have her murdered because Ron wants her dead because she got well the year his kid died. And I hung up. That was Strange's light. I had fibromyalgia, goes into remission 80% of the time within the first 2 years, and then the rest after that. And I had to really work with a doctor and pain medicine, get off all the alternative drugs where I was swelling so bad, to get better. And it took about 7 months of getting out there, pulling myself around with canes and everything else to get enough strength for mine to go back into remission. And the swelling, some nurse said that they figure it was probably medication error and nobody checked, and I kept swelling huge. So lucky they didn't kill me. It's a good thing I went to the doctor that dealt with just pain medicine and getting out and moving. So it estranged me and a cult leader. He told everybody I was faking I was sick and faking I got well while Ron was grieving. I got well 2 months after his kid had got killed in a car wreck I had nothing to do with. My whole family's at home. And his father-in-law ran a stop sign, and a semi hit him. It's Phil's fault. We weren't even anywhere around. And just 2 months later, where I'd been working with this doctor for about 7 months, mine went into the spontaneous remission that happens naturally 80% of the time, but mine took 3 years and a lot of work. And it was 2 months later. Had nothing to do with nothing but strangers and a cult leader. And he lies to people. Okay? And what's really sick is Becca's daughter is an RN nurse since like 15, 16, and she would know it goes into spontaneous remission, and they've been playing everybody. Okay? So, let's see. On like the 19th or 20th, about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, Dacre asked me, I love you, but I love her more. Rubbing my head, kissing me, squeezing me. It was turning him on. He started climbing on top of me. I was afraid he was going to kill me with his own bare hands. He said, I hired a man to slit your throat, stab you in the heart, you'll bleed out, Karen. But you have to die for us to get everything. I'm so sorry, Karen. I love you, but I love her more, and you have to die. I got a man to put a bullet in you if you run. For 30 minutes in the cold dark night, he held me down. I was too afraid to move. I could lay there and watch the clock tick. He rolled over and then got up and went to work. He was not a vivid dream. He was very much awake. By September 21st, 18, I was freaking out, realizing the 4 attempts on my life was them and him, and how stupid was I not to put it together. I'm walking around Giant Eagle. I'm actually in the pop aisle. He calls me, where are you at? I'm buying something for dinner. I got a phone call to make. Don't go. Please don't go. And he hangs up and he won't answer my phone call. I look up and they're giving flu shots. And I thought, I better get one while I'm here because I heard telling it's not safe for me to even be here anymore. And I got the flu shot. I walk along the long pharmacy, and I got dizzy, and I sat down on the bench. I'm just like, just breathe. You're okay. Just breathe. Self-talk, you're okay. Just breathe, because I'm hyperventilating all that is sound. And I'm out here alone. I don't know anybody. I hear the voice. I can't believe she's here. I'm like, oh my God, it's the same one as I got her, and she got away. Where is he? I get up, and I stand up, and I turn my car right by the ATM. He comes up behind me. I stab you right here now if it wasn't for that security guard. The Pizza Hut older blonde waitress tells him, are you just going to stab her and get it over with? He said, I won't make it out for the security guard. And while they're arguing, I turn my car into the bank. I want to open an account. I got right in front of someone. I thought, you'll have to do it in front of somebody. I look over and she walks out and around me and comes up next to me to the mail banker. I get paid to watch her. He's like, lady, stay out of it. She lays her head down on the counter. She's like, no, I get paid to watch her. He's like, lady, I mean it. Stay out of it. It won't be worth it. And they're yelling at each other. She walks off. And the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, just threatened to knife me, walks off with her. And instantly my phone rings. It's Dave. And I put him on hold and I wouldn't let him know he did it. And they got my account open and the mail banker's still, going off. And so I look, there's a group of people leaving. I got in it, and in the middle of it, I freak out and I drive 20 miles down to Walmart 62. An African American lady spit in my face, and her and her white boyfriend's harassing me. I go in and there's a white man with black hair, black eyes, and eagle tattoo comes up and goes, what a shame. Kept staring at me like a dead animal, and I got away from that freak. And at the end of the driveway, Dave got home. My girlfriend's rich and powerful. Our family owns a place. He won't be able to withstand. I told him it wasn't a communist country. No one owned the place. It took a day. And I prayed. I honestly loved Dave with all my heart. He would make love to me 2 and 3 times a night and several times a week. He would be good to me for a year and a half. And the first time I made him mad, he beat the hell out of me. If it was just a comment, a look, or if he was just angry. I even taped him admitting that one time he had came home from church and I had been home, I hadn't seen him all night, and he crawled across me and grabbed my arm and twisted it, and it felt like the bones broke. And my arm was messed up for a long time. And I asked him on tape, why did you ever do that? I laid there and screamed. I hadn't even said anything besides hi. He said, I don't know why I was angry. He said, what do you want me to say? I got into an argument with my girlfriend and came home and took it out on you. That's probably what happened. I didn't know I was cheating with him. I was just his punching bag. See, you never made it bad. I learned to survive. It took a day and I prayed. I could never forgive him again for hurting me. If I forgive him, I'll die, and it's by the grace of God am I alive. And once I pick up that phone, I can never go back. But if I go back, he'll kill me. No more family get-togethers. No more loving him. 33 years of existence is gone. I took a day, and I prayed, and I poured my heart out to God. It was the hardest emotional decision to pick up the phone and call the FBI. For 40 minutes, I poured out what had happened. Okay? And they'll have an agent call you back. The next morning, I woke up. I had been drugged up so bad in my sleep. I'd wake up with bruises, and here they were injecting me in my sleep. I woke up, crying rivers of tears down my face. I kept saying, I can't. And the phone's ringing. And I rolled over and back to sleep, and it went to voicemail. And I listened to it later. This is Agent so-and-so, call me back. I rolled over, I can't. I got up and ate something with Dave when he got home. The next day, the same thing. Then I couldn't get up. Third day, I made myself get up. And I was sitting on the front porch, and I'm holding my head. I felt like I was drunk. And I don't drink. And it's like, do I have carbon monoxide poisoning? What is wrong with me? I didn't realize they were daily drunk at me. I just had bruises. Okay? And I thought, I gotta call that guy back. I gotta get air in my face. They're here. They're watching me. I'm too afraid to leave. So I thought if I walk up and down the yard, they'll think I'm nuts. So I put a lawnmower in my hand and started mowing. Halfway through, I thought of Sarah. I called her, of course, can't witness for you. I'm scared for you. So I went and got her car and I put that agent's number in. I made an excuse up to go down to the mall for church. Our manager put it in our locker. We went up to Apostolic Church of Barberton. Paul Paymer got into his face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. What's this with an FBI agent coming up here with threats on her life? He actually pointed at a Stark County sheriff in plain clothes, which verified lately that he did tell on me, and he didn't tell on that agent for telling on me before. They have verified that it was him. The next and Dave comes in and said, let's go, and he swings at me in the truck till I almost jumped out on the highway. I got home and I ran. There's no turning back at this point. I called that agent the next day and I'm crying rivers of tears. And I tried to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank. Was there a camera above you where you're sitting? I don't know. If there's not a camera sitting where you were standing and I can't see him come up behind you, I'll arrest you for lying. I said, what? I don't know. He said, well, you either say you're lying or I'll put you in jail. It's like, fine, whatever. The real Karen that wasn't been drugged up would have hung up on him and reported him. That's me. The drugged up Karen did what she was told. And then he's like, why would the FBI help a person like you? They're going to kill me. So, made me plead for my life. And then he's like, give me a real reason. Well, I told him about my brother-in-law, Craig, that died working at the Pentagon. Oh, I'll list you on informant. He was going to list me on informant anyways. He just wanted to meet me for the hell of it. The $5,000 a month diplomatic immunity. But if you tell someone all this crazy, no one will be. He's just bullying me. He can't do any of that. The only thing illegal he did was list me informant and put me in the witness protection program. The next morning, I call Dixie and I'm begging her to stay out of it. And I hear somebody outside kill it. Beep, beep. My security system went off. There was footsteps outside my room. I'm begging her to stay out of this. But Karen, they're threatening your life. I know that. I'm scared too. And they go, man, that's not what's going on. Everybody out. And they rush out. I'm like, Dixie, stay out of this. I get up and somebody had broken my home. I call my sister Pam and she's like, Karen, I want you to call the FBI on those churches. I said, Pam, they're crazy. One's already told on me. Now I lived on John Thomas Road, okay, in Ravenna. The house after mine was a duplex, an old lady on one side and a group of men on the other side. They had a copy of my phone before I called that agent. They were outside mocking me for notes I kept in there, okay, because so many things were happening so quick I was keeping notes. And I said, they got a copy of my phone and they're mocking me. I'd have to get a prepaid phone, call you at work. This is not crazy. She's like, what? I said, never mind. I'm a big girl. I can handle this. You stay out of it. I told her in 21 that I called the FBI on Dave. She's like, when did you do that? I went 18. She didn't realize what I said. Okay. They said Will stole the money on the first day. That's why I got left up there to die. He sold the login but before Thanksgiving of 18 on porn sites. That people have witnessed that they have seen me in the bathroom, the toilet, being raped, tortured, bashed in the back of the head, almost murdered. He sold it for money. They have let this thing play out like a reality show when it's really happening. See, it was his job to go pull those tapes. If he had any questions, he could have said, can you hold for a minute and dial Huntington Bank in Ravenna? I want to talk to the bankers that were there. There was a lady there with getting paid to stalk her, and she walked off with a tall white guy with black hair. I want that tape. It was his job to find out who he is. You know why he freaked out? Because he's in with the human traffickers. That's their kidnapper. It's come out that they're stealing from the case because he owed those drug dealers money. And that he's into with retired Judge Peace with the human trafficking. That's why all this happened. I talked to someone, I know someone who knows someone who deals drugs. They all know that you didn't realize that that agent was in debt to those drug dealers, the Gentleman Club from Florida and the Kingsman Group from Texas. And he let them hurt you in front of people until he could pay them off and then another drug shipment. If you take the $5,000 a month and then like pay for your housing and living expenses, if you allow $1,500 a month for that, he stole over $377,000 that was meant for my care over 4.5 years. And he's embezzled that from the witness protection program. My house manager, Melissa, her niece was taken, I about died when she started describing my kidnapper and the truck guys harassing and the people with the earbuds, that they work as a team. They're drug traders out of this area, human trafficking people. And I told you I figured out where Dave met them because one of my neighbor, my kid got roofied in a bar and he ended up driving around high all night. Didn't know he went to the bank, didn't know what he went out to eat, and didn't know he changed his shoes when it wore off. He'd been out, you're sleepwalking for about 4 to 6 hours. He's like, where would a person like you or anybody meet drug dealers and let alone human traffickers? And I got to thinking, well, the local bars in Perry, they're just local guys. The most you're going to get is a hey baby. You can be out at night, your kids can play, you can walk, nobody will do anything but hey baby you. They're just local guys. Okay? So where would Dave meet him? Then I got to thinking, well, he would have to gone to a bad bar in Akron. He'd probably be too scared to do that. And then realizing who's involved, I think I got a really good idea. I let the authorities know. I was sitting here thinking out loud in my apartment, and it's like, well, then it has to be this place. Somebody drove by and screamed because my apartment's bogged and they sold it. I didn't think about it before. I nailed it. And that's where the other 2 attempts in my life before that girl showed up and that older couple, it was uh, the church people or associates trying, and then the human trafficker kidnapper showed up because he's in it with the human traffickers and the drug dealers. And if you think about where I said, well, how would they get here? Mm-hmm. And then church people are associated with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Somebody pulled in McDonald's. Will did know Dave before the case. That's what's going on. And that was Michelle. Some lady showed up in the park and said, I heard it so bad that Dave's girlfriend walked right in front of her and she didn't know who she was. And I got to thinking, the blonde girl in the restaurant. That's when everybody showed up that was bad. The one that works with the human traffickers. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. They pulled that case. See, he actually opened a case. Protected custody case, witness protection program informant. Had an officer talk to Dave so it gets embezzled from the federal government. Used my case as a scam, but he opened a real one. Officers admit to working it in uniform. Even one guy that said he knew a drug dealer, he also has a friend on the police department and said they know of the case that agent opened up, and they knew about the Texas group. I hadn't even told them about the Texas group. And he said that they've been actually looking into my case 2 hours away. So he actually opened a protected custody case. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But yeah, 12/21/18, retired Judge Pete's son, Alex, white-haired guy with his hair parted aside, admitted to leaving a white comb on Dave's dresser, where I went to the refrigerator. A guy comes up behind me. I can't wait for the truth. No longer stabs me in the neck. Foggy, hazy, dark, bright light. Felt myself cry. Woke up 6 hours later in bed, bruises all over me, and my head's actually dented in. I had a migraine, and Dave's accusing me of having an affair. I had no idea what happened, and he's yelling at me, and I went back to bed. Okay. He showed up in January at 19 at Bob Evans in front of people. Some guy looked at him and said, "You idiot, you left your comb over there." Well, I had almost a naked lady laying next to me. You're lucky I only combed her hair. I didn't even know who he was till later. He was one of the big truck guys. He was down here. I had a pair of jeans on. I was bending over to get stuff out of my vehicle at the laundromat. They slam on their brakes. I look up and they're right there. And he said, "Hey, Alex. There she is." He said, "I know my girlfriend's got a nice ass." He said, "It's great having a girlfriend that you don't have to do anything for." The man's delusional. I didn't even know his name. He was just some weirdo that was following me around. He's a spitting image of a retired Judge Pete. Put a beard on him. Looks just like him. He admitted to be in front of people. He was the one holding me down in bed while they were assaulting me. March 1st, 2023. I'm in Walmart 62 by the nail polish. I'm in the nail polish aisle. They have cameras in all those aisles recording. A lady walks by and said told me I could watch her for her head injury. Okay? And said, "No, I don't want anything to do with this." I found out they're taking the case's money and human trafficking people, paying for it. And then she starts talking like French Italian after that. I look up and the camera says recording. Like Officer Reinhardt in Louisville, Walmart has the best tape and audio in every aisle. And my phone's tapped from the case. So watching this one detective show, they tapped somebody's phone. They didn't even have to have it on. And you walked around and it taped and recorded everything. That's where February 2nd, Burlington Coat Factory, another guy admits to drugging me and telling me to say stuff before. People ran in Save-A-Lot. Oh my goodness. They admitted to drugging her and telling her to say it before. My one client lives on 6th Street. The brown house across the way, he ran out and yelled it to the postman. Postman's like, we all heard it. They sold it before Thanksgiving of 18. They sold the case. He sold police information. That's where I got these weird men making fun of me for being raped and tortured between July and September 19, between midnight and 3:30 in protected custody. Because he sold me on porn sites. Mike said his one girlfriend he didn't know set up bear cameras. Just thought he had a teddy bear sitting around. Videotaped him having sex. Sold it on porn sites. She made 50 grand. He said he was so pissed. He said she went out and bought herself all kinds of stuff. He said, there's no reason to say anything once it's out on porn sites and it's on the web. It's always going to be there. There's nothing you can do. I want these people arrested for it. They didn't have the right to do any of this. There's a shooting night right before Christmas 18, and Dave's caught with the shooters. They actually broke in the old lady's apartment. Thank God she was in the hospital, and discharged a gun inside of it. And they're caught on police surveillance that they were up there to kill me. You went to the wrong house. We know. She's nothing but target practice. She's up to something. We've seen her through a monitor. He said that figures. Next time we'll come up and kill her. We'll take care of it once and for all. We shot a man that was sleeping where we finished him off in a back room. We knew he liked her and wanted to meet her when this is over, and we shot a man in the head that was running. We're going to say a neighbor did it by mistake. He's caught with him on tape. Trying to have me murdered. They have Alec trying to kill me and his friends on 12/21/18, bashed in the back of the head and left for dead after they beat me under drugs. I'm raped and tortured between July and September 19. All right, I'm going to go ahead and upload this. It's a house of horror if they actually pull it. Other police are working it. She actually opened a case.